study about the next theory of water being pulled up in the xylem, that is the transpiration pull theory. Yesterday we had done the root pressure theory, if you remember. We had studied how water can go up to a certain height in the xylem because of root pressure. And we had also done a bit about guttation. It was related to root pressure. I am sure both the things are clear. Now we move on to the second theory, the transpiration pull theory, or the model which is proposed on the basis of transpiration pull theory, known as the transpiration pull model. What is it called? Transpiration pull model, or the theory is simply called as transpiration theory. Again we are going to study the same thing what we did yesterday. We studied in root pressure theory how water can move up in a xylem. That is one viewpoint, that is one theory which was put forward, that water can go up to a certain height because of root pressure. This is another viewpoint, this is another theory which will tell you that how water can move up in a xylem, and this theory is what we call as the transpiration pull theory. So we have two main theories when we talk about, like you had two mechanisms, how water from root hair reaches xylem. You had apoplast, you had synplast. Similarly, we have two theories to explain how water moves up in a xylem. The first one we have already done yesterday, that was your root pressure theory, and the second one we are going to do today, which is your transpiration pull theory or transpiration pull model. See beta, you need to remember that all the plants, they have a continuous water column in the xylem. In xylem, there is always water present, we call it as water column. Always keep in mind that plants, they have a continuous water column in xylem, and this starts right from the roots and it continues up to the leaves. When we talk about xylem vessels, we have xylem present in the roots, we have xylem present in the stems. So this water which is present, which is called as the water column, remember always that plants, they always have this water present in them in the xylem vessels, and this presence of water in the xylem vessel starts right from the root xylem. And of course it is present up to the xylem which goes up to leaves. You have xylem interconnected vessels. You've got xylem in the roots, you've got xylem in the stem, you've got xylem in the leaves. Okay? It's actually a tube-like structure. So the water which is present, plants, they always have a water. There is always a continuous amount of water which is present in the xylem. And this is right from where? This is right from the root xylem and it continues up to the leaves. Now once the water reaches the leaves, I am talking about the xylem present in the leaves, what happens is water is lost through transpiration. We know this also, that once water reaches where? It reaches the xylem of the leaves. See, water started moving from xylem of roots, it went to xylem of stem, of course it has reached to xylem of leaves. And once water has reached the leaves, what happens now is that gradually water is lost through transpiration. Now the flow of the water upwards in the xylem is at a good speed. Yesterday we did about root pressure, we said that the water moves very slowly. Here if you compare, the speed is better. It is about 15 meters per hour. The flow of water upwards in xylem, the movement is around how much? It is 15 meters in an hour. The water molecules in the water column, they always remain attracted to each other by cohesive forces and cannot be easily separated. We had done two forces, cohesion and adhesion. Water to water attraction was cohesion, and water being attracted towards something else, attraction towards other substance, that was adhesion. So we have a lot of water molecules which are present in the water column. We just said this, that water is always present as water column in the xylem. Now since we have so many water molecules present in the water column in the xylem, there will be a force of attraction between them, and since it is an attraction between water-water molecules, this force is what we call as cohesive force. So water molecules in water column, they will remain attracted, they will remain attached to each other by forces which are known as which forces? Cohesive forces. And that is the reason that they cannot be easily separated. Water molecules in the water column cannot be easily separated from each other. Why? Very simple. Because there is a force of attraction, that is a cohesive force which exists between the water molecules, where one water molecule attracts the other water molecule. So there is an attraction between water molecules, that means we have a cohesive force. Also beta, we have an adhesion force also present. Now what is that adhesion force? It is the attraction between the inner walls of the xylem, because of which water molecules cannot be easily pulled away from the walls of the xylem. Now the water molecules are now also being attracted to the walls of the xylem. So this is going to be which force now? This is the adhesive force. Again a reminder, we have already done it, cohesion force or cohesive force, water to water attraction, and if water is being attracted to something else, it is adhesive forces. If you see carefully, this water column which is present in the xylem will show both the forces. It will show cohesive force also, it will show adhesive force also. How? Water was being attracted to water molecules already present in the water column, that was your cohesive force. Now the water molecules are also being attracted towards what? The inner walls of the xylem. So this is which force now? This is adhesive force. It is because of this adhesive force that water molecules cannot be easily pulled away from the walls of xylem. Water molecules cannot be pulled away easily from each other because of the force of cohesion. Water molecules cannot be easily pulled away from the walls of the xylem because of which force? Because of the force of adhesion. Now both these forces, the cohesive forces and the adhesive forces, are responsible for attraction. So there are two attractions going on. Water to water attraction, that is your cohesive force, and water being attracted towards the wall of the xylem, this is adhesive force. So cohesive forces, adhesive forces, both of them are responsible for attraction. This maintains the continuity or presence of water column right from the roots to the leaves. That is the reason that we always have some amount of water always present in the xylem. It is always present in the xylem right from the roots up to the leaves. Because there are some water molecules which are under cohesion and adhesion, they will not leave their places easily. So it is because of these cohesive and additive forces that there is a continuity or presence of water column in the right from the roots to the leaves. Now we were talking about once the water has reached the leaves. Now once it reaches the leaves, water is lost to the mesophyll cells during transpiration. Which cells are responsible for transpiration in the leaves? It is the mesophyll cells. So now what will happen once water reaches the leaves? Water loss starts being done there in the form of transpiration. We did a bit about transpiration yesterday when we differentiated between guttation. Okay? So water is lost from mesophyll cells during transpiration. Now because there is a water loss beta, okay, the water amount is becoming less. So you will have a negative potential being created in the leaves. If you remember, I told you potential, power and capacity is related to the number of water molecules. The more the water molecules, you will have more the potential. The less the water molecules, you will have less potential. So what is happening over here? Water is now being continuously lost from the mesophyll cells during transpiration. So a very strong negative potential is created. Why am I using the word very strong? Understand this. See, whether in a plant there are a large number of leaves, and you will be amazed to know that each leaf has thousands of mesophyll cells. And it is these mesophyll cells which undergo transpiration. Now you can very well imagine transpiration is taking place from how many cells? Each leaf has thousands of mesophyll cells, and it is these mesophyll cells which are transpiring cells which undergo transpiration. And we have about hundreds and thousands of leaves on a plant. So you can easily multiply 100 by 1000 or 1000 by 1000. Let's talk about if a plant has only 100 leaves. Though when we talk about a big tree, it is not 100, it is always more than 100. And each leaf has minimum 1000 mesophyll cells. So how many cells which are undergoing transpiration? 100 into 1000. So there is so much of water loss. That is why I use the word strong negative potential. Is it okay for everybody? Once the water reaches the mesophyll cells, transpiration is taking place. And this transpiration is creating a very strong negative potential. Why is it creating a very strong negative potential? Because I just told you there are a large number of leaves. Each leaf has thousands of mesophyll cells which undergo transpiration. So once we have so many mesophyll cells, all of them are continuously withdrawing water from xylem. What is happening now? They are continuously withdrawing, pulling the water from xylem. Obviously there is a negative potential, there is deficiency of water at the leaves. So what will happen now? They will pull, they will withdraw the water from the xylem. Now this will lead to negative pressure in the water column. Now water is being reduced where now? Earlier the water was being reduced where? It was being reduced in the leaves. So we had a very strong negative potential potential being created in the leaves. Now these cells, the mesophyll cells, now the water has become deficient over there because of transpiration. What will they start doing? They'll start withdrawing water from the xylem. Now when water starts moving from the xylem, this would create a negative potential in the water column now. Okay? Water column, what is created is a negative potential. Now you have a negative potential in the water column, and gradually an upward pull will be there over the water column. This pull is what we call as transpiration pull. Because of this pull, water will gradually move up in the xylem. Because who is pulling it? The mesophyll cells are withdrawing water from the xylem. And why are they doing it? Because they have a stronger negative potential over there in the leaves. Though we have a negative potential in the water column, we have a stronger negative potential in the leaves. So leaves will start withdrawing water from the xylem. And it is because of this that the water will be pulled upward from the water column. This pull is what we call as transpiration pull. Although the water is being pulled from the xylem, but it is being pulled because of transpiration. That is why this pull is called as which pull? It is called as the transpiration pull. Now this pull will be transmitted to roots also. The effect of this tension, the effect of this pull will be felt on the roots also, and the roots will start attracting or searching more amount of water, so that more amount of water can be supplied and a continuous water column can be maintained in the xylem. Is it okay for everybody? Now see, this pull is transmitted to the roots and the roots will start searching for more water. The water column formed in the xylem elements of roots now moves upward under the influence of which pull? Under the influence of transpiration pull. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion of this theory is that the cohesive forces, the adhesive forces and the transpiration pull, all three of them together are contributing. Cohesive forces, adhesive forces, transpiration pull, all together help in lifting water up through the xylem. But cohesive forces or cohesion, this plays a major role in this transpiration pull. That is why it is also known as cohesion, tension, transpiration pull model. Why is it called as cohesion, tension, transpiration pull model? Although cohesion, adhesion, transpiration all are responsible, but cohesion or cohesive forces are playing a major role over here. So we sometimes also call this as the cohesive transpiration pull model of water transport. Transpiration and transport of mineral nutrients, if I talk about, we have already discussed that plants always absorb excess water than what they need. And plants do not utilize all the water which is absorbed by them. Let us imagine if they are absorbing 100% water, then only 5 to 10% is being utilized by the plant. If it is absorbing 100%, water is only utilizing how much? 5 to 10%. So where is the rest 90 to 95% water going? This rest 90 to 95% water is lost through transpiration from the aerial parts of the plant, especially through the leaves in the form of water vapor. This we have done. This process of transpiration is carried out by special structures in the leaf which we call as stomatas. You know about stomatas? Now because the process of transpiration occurs through stomata, sometimes it is also called as stomatal transpiration. What is it called as? Stomatal transpiration. It can be called as cohesion transpiration because cohesive forces play a major role. It can also be called as stomatal transpiration because transpiration occurs through stomata. So sometimes in some books we will find the word written as stomatal transpiration. Let us talk about stomata. You know about them. They consist of two bean-shaped cells which are called as guard cells. And both the guard cells, they are surrounded by many more cells present in the epidermis. You already know about these bean-shaped cells, guard cells. We need to know a little further that these guard cells are further surrounded by many cells which are present in the epidermis which help them. That is why these helping cells, a group of cells which surround these guard cells, are known as accessory cells. What do we call these cells as? Accessory cells. So when we think about a stomata, we think about two bean-shaped cells which are known as guard cells. And these bean-shaped cells will be surrounded by many cells present in the epidermis which are known as which cells? Which are known as accessory cells. Each stoma, see the plural is stomata, singular pore is stoma, S-T-O-M is stoma. Each stoma, if you open the hole and see where does it lead to, you will see that it leads to an air space and empty space which is known as stomatal cavity. Each stoma, each hole, each pore, it leads where? You will see that it leads into an empty space or an air space which is known as stomatal cavity. Okay, what is it called? It is called as stomatal cavity. Coming to the number of stomata. The number of stomata varies from plant to plant and leaves to leaves. Mainly we have, on the basis of this, you can have two kinds of leaves. Beta, we have mainly two kinds of leaves. Isobilateral leaves and dorsiventral leaves. Listen carefully. Isobilateral and dorsiventral. Iso means same, bi means two. Okay, so if both the sides are same, upper and lower surfaces, dorsal, ventral, upper, lower surfaces both are same, such a leaf is called as isobilateral leaf. Iso means same, bi means two. So both the sides, the upper and the lower sides, both are same. Such kind of leaves are known as isobilateral. When I say both are same, there are a lot of similarities. How there are a lot of similarities? That the color green, the green color on the upper side will be exactly the same green color on the lower side. Number one similarity. Number two similarity is that the number of stomata found on the upper and the lower surface of the leaf is also same. That is why these leaves are known as isobilateral leaves and you will find them in monocots. Listen again. Isobilateral leaves. Iso same, bi means two. Both the surfaces are same. Dorsal, ventral, upper, lower, both the surfaces are same. The green color on the upper and the lower surface is same. First reason. The number of stomata on the upper and the lower surface is also same. That is why these leaves are known as isobilateral leaves and you will find them where? You will find them in monocots. You will find them in monocots. There is one more term which I would like to tell you over here. That word is, you should know about it, amphistomatic. Amphi means both. Amphibians, if you remember. The word amphi means both. So if I break this word, amphistomatic, stomata, same on both the sides. Amphistomatic. Amphistomatic, that means the stomata are same on both the surfaces. The number of stomata present on the upper surface is almost the same as the number of stomata present on the lower surface. That is why such leaves, isobilateral leaves, are also known as amphistomatic leaves. Moving on to dorsiventral leaves. Here the dorsal and ventral sides are different. The upper side is darker green and the lower side is lighter green. So we have separated. We are not saying they are iso. They are dorsiventral. Dorsal and ventral surfaces are different. The upper side is dark green and the lower side is light green. There is one more difference. We have more stomata on the lower surface and you will find such leaves in dicots. You have more stomata on its surface, lower surface, and you will find such leaves in dicots, and such leaves are known as hypostomatic. What are they called? Hypostomatic. Very fast. Isobilateral leaves, both the surfaces are same, the green color is same, upper and lower is same. The number of stomata on the upper and lower surfaces are also same. So isobilateral leaves are known as amphistomatic and you will find them in monocots. Dorsiventral, upper and lower surfaces are different. Upper is dark green, lower is light green. The number of stomata are more on the lower surface, so also known as hypostomatic. So dorsiventral leaves are hypostomatic and you will find them in dicots. So this is what we have done about transpiration pole. We said that there is always a continuous amount of water which is present in the xylem right from the roots up to the leaves. And it is because of two forces, cohesive and adhesive. Water to water attraction, cohesive forces. Water being attracted by the walls of the xylem, adhesive forces. So because of cohesion and adhesion, water is always present in the xylem vessels. Now water is lost to transpiration. I also told you this, that transpiration creates a strong negative pull because we have large number of leaves. Each leaf has thousands of neutrophil cells, so there is excess of transpiration. When there is a lot of transpiration, a strong negative potential is created in the leaves, so water starts withdrawing from the xylem. So we will have a negative potential being created in the xylem as well. This potential, this pressure, this tension will be passed on to the roots and roots will start absorbing more water. So this transpiration pull is a result of cohesion, adhesion and transpiration pull, but the major factor is cohesion, so it is also known as cohesion transpiration. Stomata are responsible for transpiration, so we call it as stomatal transpiration. Talking about structure of stomata, we said they have guard-shaped cells called as bean-shaped cells which are known as guard cells. They are surrounded by a bunch of cells, a group of cells in the epidermis which are called accessory cells. And each stomata leads to an empty space cavity which is known as stomatal cavity. And the last one, we said the number of stomata are different. When we talk about the monopods, they are isobilateral leaves, same surfaces, upper and lower, same number of stomata, and we also call them as amphistomatic. But in dorsiventral leaves, which are found in dicots, upper surface is dark green, lighter surface is light green, and the number of stomata present on the lower surface is more, so the term was hypostomatic. I hope both the terms are clear. Amphistomatic, same number of stomata. Hypostomatic, more stomata on the lower surface. Thank you.